I'm recording now. Okay, so hello, I'm Dr. Kathy, and this is Davina, and
Hello.
we're here today to talk about how to have more fun with technology. And I'll briefly introduce myself, and then I'll hand over to Davina to introduce herself. I am an IT professional who's worked in government, and I'm what they technically call a technical or business systems analyst or technical business analyst. So I solve people's problems, so look at what's bothering them, look at their business processes, and look at how technology can help make life better for people in their work. And yeah, we're here today to give you an idea of how technology doesn't have to be stressful. It can be more fun and can help you do the things you want to do. So, Davina, would you like to introduce yourself?
Hi, I'm Davina. When I went to uni, just a couple of moons ago, but not that long. My degree was in accounting, but I did a minor in computing. So when I left uni, I went into accounting offices, and it just so happened that over the course of my career, I drifted into more and more the technology side of things. So more of my positions were what you would call a systems accountant. So that's the person who knows all about the accounting systems, what they do, how they tick. You can write any reports for people that need to be written and solve any problems that they need solved with their technology. And also, I've done a fair amount of training in those sorts of positions as well. So, as Kathy said, we're here to help and to contribute to the business community.
So, we'd like to start today by giving an overview of the practicalities of what you need if you want to communicate over the internet, and what types of equipment you might be looking at buying, and the types of things that you might want to achieve personally. So today we'll talk more about the things that you might use at home or at work. We're planning some other workshops and seminars later on to talk about specific business type technologies as well. So on my own website, I like to use the metaphor of a journey at sea. So getting started with technology and using it is a bit like a sea voyage. So the first thing that you need to know when you're setting out on a voyage is where do you want to go and why do you want to sail. And then I'll give you a briefing on the equipment that you might need and avoiding the dangers and pitfalls on the journey. So on my blog, I talk about sharks, storms, and rip currents. So I'll give you some tips today on how to avoid and survive sharks and storms. So where do you want to go and why? Some reasons why people might want to get more familiar with technology, use it better, to provide better communication with distant friends or family. If you've got relatives who are traveling overseas, then there are some free technologies like Skype that can save you a lot of money on phone bills. Buy or sell things online. I know a lot of people who love eBay, and I just recently myself, my iPad cable broke, and I managed to get 2 replacements very cheaply and very promptly on eBay. So buying and selling online can be very useful. And if you're considering starting or improving a business, so that's another reason why technology can be very essential to marketing a business in today's environment, to how you find your customers and how you interact with them. Another common things people want to be able to stay in touch when they're out of the office, do their work anywhere. And you might be considering writing a family history or a book or some type of manual related to your work, or you might have other reasons. Interested to hear what they are. So the next thing when you're setting out on a journey and preparing for it is to prepare your equipment. The most fundamental basic level, you need some type of device to access the internet. It can be a mobile phone, or they've got very small screens, so accessing it for too long from one of those can be a bit painful, or a tablet, desktop, or notebook. And you need an internet connection. So when do you choose what type of equipment? Desktops and notebooks are really good if you're doing a lot of typing or a lot of video editing. Trying to edit video on a tablet can be painful. I've done it. There's a trade-off when you're purchasing this between the size and the features. Obviously, notebooks are very small, very portable, but they have very small screens, and you might, if you're going to be using a notebook for a lot of video editing, you might want to consider purchasing a screen to connect it to. Desktops and notebooks have more ways to connect than tablets. They have more ports where you can connect other devices to, and often they can play or even record DVDs. So if you need those types of things, then you need to have a real computer. Many of them aren't touch screens yet. So if you want to interact by touching the screen, then you have to ask questions and make sure that the device that you're choosing is capable of doing that. And many times desktops and notebooks are slower to start up than tablets. You don't necessarily have an instant on. And there are a number of varieties. There's the little Chromebooks, which are very cheap but aren't necessarily compatible with other things. And then there's the well-known alternatives of PC or Mac, and they both, of course, come in various shapes and sizes. There are little MacBook notebooks right up to very large screen iMacs, and similarly with PCs, you can have everything from the tiniest notebook to a screen that's at least as big as a TV set. With tablets, they're useful for people who move around a lot, maybe on the road for work, or traveling a lot, or who like to read in bed. There's basically two main choices there. There's Android-based or Apple iPad, and again, they come in various sizes. And it's a matter of what's most comfortable for you. I don't believe there is any one best tablet. There are as many different reasons why someone might like one or another as there are people. So it's a matter of what you feel comfortable with. The things to watch out for are some things on social media, particularly Facebook, tend not to work on tablets and mobile phones. That I've quite often had to turn on the computer because trying to tag something or some of the more advanced features of Facebook didn't work. And the other thing is, if you're typing a lot, typing on a virtual keyboard can be really irritating if you've got a lot to do. This can be worked around by using a Bluetooth keyboard, which are quite commonly available now, and they connect wirelessly to your device. And if you're doing a lot of typing on a tablet, that's a good investment. The other thing that those devices aren't really much use unless you can get an internet connection on them. And it's important that you choose the right technology or combination of technologies to fit your needs. Many people have more than one internet connection, so they might have a fixed line connection of some sort in their home, and they might still have one or more mobile devices, like mobile smartphones or tablets, that can operate independently. And yeah, the options, as I touched on, can be divided into fixed line or mobile, basically. Fixed line technologies, the acronyms people are going to spout at you are probably ADSL, cable, and NBN. NBN is a new thing and not available in all areas yet. So it's the fastest but also the most expensive of the types of fixed line connection, and it's, as I said, not available everywhere by any means. In Brisbane, there's only several suburbs at the moment that can get the NBN. ADSL and cable have been around a long time. They both normally provide reasonable speed, but you have to watch out. There are circumstances under which they can both slow down. With cable, it's when a lot of people in a particular small area are using it, so it's a demand thing. And with ADSL, it's the distance between you and the nearest telephone exchange. So talk to other people in your area is the best tip. Find out what's working for people near you, and talk to a number of companies before you agree to one. And yeah, and then there's the mobile options as well. So there's 3G and 4G, and that basically uses the same technology that your mobile phone uses. So that's, if you see the little SIM card that's inside your mobile phone, your device will have one similar to that. And for example, this iPad, I've got that set up on a Telstra SIM card. So if it was one of the newer iPads, it could actually work on 4G. This is a very old one, so it's a 3G one, but I still get very, very good internet speeds on that in my area. And the reason that I do that is to have two alternate connections. So I've got the fixed line, but if our power goes down, or if I want to access the internet away from home, I do a lot of work in other places, so I can work anywhere on that. And it can even be set up so that if other devices can connect to it and use it as an access point. So I could use the laptop connected to the iPad. And there are also little tiny pocket-sized pocket Wi-Fi type devices that connect as portable internet. Now with the mobile phone type technologies, the 3 and 4G, the big thing to watch out for is reception in your area and compatibility with your devices. So particularly with phones and maybe tablets imported from other countries, you need to make absolutely certain that they work in Australia, and that they work with the particular network that you want to use. And again, it's a bit area dependent. So there are three main carriers in Australia: Vodafone, Optus, and Telstra. The smaller ones are resellers of those. So if you're in an area where one particular company has a reputation for having bad reception, then make sure that you don't go with a reseller that's using that company. Again, talk to people in your local area, talk to other people other than the phone companies, as well as talking to the phone companies. So if you can talk to neighbouring businesses or friends and neighbours, find out what their experiences are. And that they're both very helpful, because even in places where you wouldn't expect there to be problems with these mobile technologies, there can be what we call in the industry black spots. So there can be small areas where there's a large mountain blocking the reception, or the companies haven't built quite enough towers, or there's some local issue affecting it. I actually know one person who's only 4 or 5 kilometres from Brisbane City, and in parts of her house she has trouble with data. Mobile phone's all right, but with data in parts of the house, it'll be a very weak signal, and in other parts it'll be fine. So yes, talk to local experience. If possible, if your phone is on the same company that you intend to go with the tablet, then walk around the house with your phone and look at the signal strength indicator. Typically, your phone will have something at the top of it that will indicate how strong your signal is, and wander around with that and make sure it's at a reasonable level before you decide, especially before you decide to rely exclusively on this type of connection. Not quite so important if it's a backup for emergencies, but I'd be a little bit cautious before relying on this as your only internet connection, because it is definitely more prone to slowing down, to sudden dropouts and things like that than the fixed line connections are. So definitely talk to other people, get local experience, know what the particular peculiarities in your area are and which companies work well for that particular area. And a good resource is whirlpool.net.au. Now, you'll probably think of Whirlpool as a washing machine manufacturer, but this is a different Whirlpool. The washing machine manufacturer is whirlpool.com.au. This is a website and forum where a lot of people exchange their experiences about technology, and you don't have to be an expert to get useful tips there, particularly to do with telcos, to do with what's the best in particular areas, that type of thing, plans and costs. Get helpful advice on all those issues. And finally, I'd like to talk about sharks and storms, how to avoid the pitfalls on your journey with technology. The first thing is to back up your information regularly, either by using a cloud computing service such as Google Drive, or Dropbox, or SkyDrive, or by using some type of USB device. And they're getting cheaper and cheaper. You can walk into Officeworks and buy a plentifully sized one of those for a reasonable price, or into any electronics store. If you are uploading information to the cloud, you do need to be cautious that you are losing control of it to some extent. Never rely entirely on one cloud provider to be your only copy of anything, just in case something does go wrong and someone accidentally deletes it, or some type of freakish thing happens. And anything that's really confidential, you might like to put a password on it, just in case that someone else can see it. They are probably reasonably secure, but if I was putting my client details, names and addresses up there, I would definitely password protect them. You need to keep your device up to date with any updates that the manufacturer issues to it as well. So, for example, Windows PCs get regular security updates, and you can set those up so that you'll get them installed automatically. When you turn off your computer, they'll set themselves up. It's really important to keep up to date with those, because any identified issues where people can break into your computer and steal information or install nasty things, the manufacturers will work on those, and as soon as they have a fix, they'll issue it as one of those security updates. And that applies pretty much whatever type of device you have. Keep up to date. If there's an automatic update facility included, and follow the manufacturer's recommendations about security software. If you have a free trial supplied with your device, use it and make sure that at the end, when it's due to expire, either buy it or replace it with an alternative. There's free security software out there, and in fact, the newer versions of Windows come with an antivirus software and a firewall built in. So for Windows PCs, it's sometimes just a matter of ticking some settings and you're covered. It depends, again, how you use it, what's the appropriate protection for you. Beware of scams. The pirates out there on the seas of technology don't necessarily have eye patches and parrots on their shoulders. They can hide behind an email link. So don't click on things that come from places you don't trust in emails, links and attachments. And don't listen to advice or do what technical support persons who call you randomly tell you to do. And be wary, keep up to date with any media reports you hear about the police warning of particular scams that are around at the moment. But don't be too scared. It's not as dangerous a place out there as people sometimes make out. It's just like anything else that pays to be sensible. You'd be cautious about your safety if you were walking in a dark, poorly lit area of a big city at night. So you should be cautious online, but not fearful online. And I'd like to close finally by quoting Christopher Columbus. You can never cross the ocean until you have the courage to lose sight of the shore. So thanks for your attention, and I will hand over to Davina now.
So my part of the presentation is I'm going to talk about the fun side. So we'll start with what's the opposite of fun. So to me, one of the things that people often have with computers is frustration. Now you hear people saying, sitting at their computer, they're saying this isn't working. Usually it's either the computer's fault, or it's the software's fault, or sometimes it might be the provider. But people just get very frustrated, very upset. So one of the things I would say is, well, what really is frustration? So frustration can result from lacking information. So if you, for instance, if your internet drops out, is your carrier doing some sort of update? And is that why your internet's dropped out? So you can usually Google, jump online, check what's happening with your carrier. Are there any known issues? If it's your software, then what I would recommend is that you just gain more information. Either inform yourself, go to a class. If you have an Apple product like an iPad or an iPhone or a MacBook, Apple offer a lot of free workshops. So you can inform yourself as to how the devices actually work. Do workshops like this. And if all else fails, Google really is your friend. So often you can go into Google, and if you're having some sort of problem, you can type in and just see what comes up. So there's always more than one, particularly with technology and with software. There's always more than one way to do things. It's just a matter of knowing what those ways are. And I guess too, one of the other things is, if you've got something to get done, one of the questions is, do you have to do it yourself, or can you pay somebody to do it? Is that going to be more joyful for you? Are you going to be less frustrated if it's, if you're a university student and you had to do a research paper? Is it going to be less frustrating if you pay somebody to type the paper up for you? So there's some options there. Now, if you really have to do it yourself, one of the best things I've found is, if you've got the time, walk away from the computer. It doesn't have to be for long. If I'm working on something and it's just not working, it's like, oh, I know there's got to be a solution to this. I'm creating a report and the report just isn't working the way I want, and I can't see why. The best thing for me is to walk away from the computer. You can walk to the kitchen. You can go outside for some fresh air, go talk to a friend. Maybe you don't have to leave it overnight. It can just be even for that short time, because often when you walk away, you just switch and think about something completely different, even for a couple of minutes. And what happens is your unconscious mind continues to work on the problem. So when you come back, then you go, oh, that was it. I couldn't see that big elephant in the room because I was busy obsessing about the room. So that is one of my personal frustration buster techniques, is to walk away. The other one is to take big, deep breaths, because if you're getting frustrated, often you go, oh, this isn't working and I just want to kill my computer, or throw it out the window, or something like that. So if you take a big, deep breath and go, okay, it's all good, then that also helps you to see beyond the frustration of what's going now. So then you can go, okay, so what's happening here? What's going on? Why isn't this working? So those sorts of questions, the best thing is to start to question, hey, what's going on with this? Why won't my report total? Why, did my computer just crash on me? What did I do? you look at what your last action was. Did I just do something strange that I don't normally do? Did I hit a combination of keys on the keyboard that's a bit different? So you always, if you're trying to self-diagnose, you actually look at what it was that you did before the problem happened. One of my other frustration buster techniques is self-talk. So we talk to ourselves all the time. So we go, so it's that little voice that sort of runs in the back of your mind. It's almost like a little recording. And often a lot of us are so used to that little voice that we don't even listen to it. We don't pay it any attention. And then that can really impact what's going on for us. And to help us to change what's going on, we actually need to know what's going on with that little voice. So if you listen to your little dialogue, so as you're sitting at your computer, what's going on as you walk up to your computer? Do you go, oh, I'm no good at this. I've never been any good at this. Computers always hate me. I've, blah, 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 blah. That's your inner dialogue. That's the sort of thing you need to start to become aware of, because until you're aware of it, you can't change it. Once you're aware of things, once you're aware of what's going on for you, then you can change it. But until you're aware of it, nothing can change. So lots of things, I see people who sit down at their computer and start cursing the computer, go, oh, this computer's just an absolute piece of nonsense. It's no good. It might be I'm no good. This software program is useless. And it's all of these things. So, but the more you keep saying that, so there's a saying that what you focus on expands. So the more you focus on this computer is no good, this computer is just, it's like it's cursed. It's got an evil gremlin or demon in it. So if you really focus on that, then the next time you go and sit down at your computer, you're going to go, oh yeah, the last time I had to touch my computer, it was a terrible session and there was the demons in the computer and so you start to bring the energy of that last session with the computer into the now. So you're living in the past now instead of sitting down at your computer and going, so what's possible for us today, computer? And what magic can we create? And then you can start to have fun with your computer. You can have an adventure with it rather than, oh no, I've got to sit at my computer again and my computer hates me and it's all going to be downhill from here. It's completely different, and it really is how you approach it. So yes, there might have been gremlins in your system yesterday. It might have been that the Wi-Fi in your area was slow. It might have been that you went on the computer after 3:30 in the afternoon and the network was just jammed with a lot of traffic. It might have been that you were so frustrated about something else that was going on in your life that you weren't really focused about what you were doing on the computer. So, and it just meant you had no patience. So before you might have sat there and went to a program to open it and you're like, yeah, okay, it's opening. But, if other things have gone wrong in other parts of your life, then you're going to bring that, often we bring that into whatever we're doing. So instead of saying, oh, you know what, I've just had a fight with the kids, let's leave that there with the kids. We sit down at the computer and go, I'm just so angry because I've had a fight with my kids and I want to kill something. And if this is the computer, that's all okay too. So all this is part of our self-talk, and it's just part of what we bring to any session we have with the computer. So, or the phone. So I'm saying computer, but all of this equally applies to whether you're talking about your computer, whether you're talking about your phone, whether you're talking about your tablet. So when we become aware of our inner dialogue, then we can start to change stuff. So one of the things that you can go do is, if you've had a fight with your kids, and you sit down at the computer, take a deep breath. Just let yourself relax down into the chair, into the ground, and just let all of that anger just melt away from you and just go away. And so then you can be there and you can take nice deep breaths, you can get relaxed, you can get focused, and then you can do what you have to do. That's one way. The other thing is, if you find yourself going, I'm just not good at this, you can go, hang on, no, cancel that thought. What is possible today? Because just because it was no good yesterday doesn't mean it's no good today. You might have informed yourself a bit more since yesterday. You might have updated your software. There can be any number of things that have changed from yesterday to today, unless we bring yesterday into today and we start going, oh, just because it was bad yesterday, I know it's bad today. And then we start focusing on, so almost before we sit down at the computer, we're going, oh, it was bad yesterday. I know it's going to be bad today. And then the slightest thing that happens, so your computer's a little bit slow to start up. You're, oh, that's it. We're going to have a bad session today. I know, my stocking rang this morning, so I was late to catch the train. That's it. The session is going to be bad with the computer. So what we're really best off doing is just living in the now, going, okay, what can I do now? So our inner dialogue actually tells us a lot about how we're viewing the world. It's not just about computers and technology. It is more about the world as well. So often if we sit down at the computer and just go, oh, I'm just no good at this, well, what else do we feel we're no good at? Do we actually feel we're no good as a parent? Do we actually feel we're no good as a mother, as a husband, as a father? Any of that, just because something happened yesterday, like I said, leave yesterday into yesterday and breathe and live in the present. So there's a saying that people fear change more than death and taxes. But if you keep doing the same thing that you've been doing, you're going to keep getting the same results. So if you don't take time to inform yourself, if you're having a problem with a software program, if you don't take the time to inform yourself and get a bit of education about how that software program works, then you are going to keep getting frustrated. It might be that was an old program. That program worked well for you for the last 10 years. But now there's new stuff on the market. The hardware is different. It's faster. So there might be new things on the market that are actually going to save you a lot of frustration. But you need to spend a time in education and research and find out what else is there. So how they say you can't teach an old dog new tricks? Well, that really comes back, in my experience, that comes back more to the self-talk, to our inner dialogue, and to our beliefs. So if you think you're no good at computers, well, guess what? You probably aren't. And if you would like to change that, then it's a matter of looking at your inner talk. It's a matter of being ready to let go of that belief and go, hey, you know what? Let's just have fun with this, because computers can be amazing fun. And look, I'm not saying they're not frustrating. There have been moments where I do express that, they are a little frustrating, and I do say, what have your bits and bolts and little electrical cords doing today? Because that's just a bit rude. But on the whole, I really enjoy technology. It is a fun thing. It is an adventure. And it's about, oh, there might be new software out there. Oh, what does it do? Oh, can we play with this? Oh, so when you can get into and see technology as that, it's like, oh, what is this? Oh, can I play with this? Oh, I have a new iPhone. Oh, that's exciting. Oh, let me play with the iPhone. iPhone, can you help me play? Oh, what can we do today? That's quite different, rather than going, oh, I've got to get my iPhone out and it's going to die on me, because it always dies on me. So, and I guess one of the other things I'd say is just be kind to yourself as well. So instead of often, some of us, and I know I'm one of these, I have a habit of beating myself up about stuff often. And I might go, oh, why didn't I get that faster? Why didn't I get the hang of that software program faster? It took me, a day. Why didn't it take me half a day, or stuff like that? But be kind to yourself. In any one moment, you are usually doing the best that you can. So I would say what you want to do is you want to look at your self-talk. You want to say, okay, let's be kind to me. And what am I saying about me to me? Am I saying to myself that I'm no good at this, that I'm no good with technology, and that it never works? So if you are, just say, okay, you know what? What else is possible? What can I do to change this for me? What can I do to make this fun for me? You know, what ifs are really great questions, because then they allow more things into your life. So if you're willing to go, hey, what would this take to make this really fun for me? Then you can explore other options. And like I said, you know, education is, particularly if you're frustrated, education is a really, really good thing to look at. Get yourself a good teacher. So what makes a good teacher? Well, a good teacher is somebody who works for you. So we're all different. The way we understand things and the way we learn things is all slightly different to each individual. So a good teacher is somebody who takes that into account and who works with you to build on your strengths and help you to understand things in a way that makes you feel uplifted and makes you feel good about yourself and go, yay, I got that. That's really good. How clever am I? So that's what you're looking for in a teacher. And if you're working with somebody and it doesn't work for you, change it. Okay? The other thing you're probably going to want to do is just be willing to play with your technology a bit, particularly as Dr. Kathy said, if you've got a backup, there's not too much you can do that's really going to be, you know, end of the world type stuff. So if you've got your phone, you might want to check out some things, like you might want to go into things like iTunes. You can, if you've got an iPhone, you know, you can go and just explore some of the settings on your computer, on your smartphones, and just have a bit of fun with them. You know, maybe Google what's the latest app, and you know, what apps can I download today that might be fun for me. If you're out and about a lot and you need scanning, there's scanning software you can actually get for your smartphones now, which is just nifty and fun, you know, just because you can. So, if you are going to experiment with things, certainly back up first. Make sure you've got backups, and then probably a backup of your backups. When you are talking with technology, backups are really just so vital. I mean, I'm sure all of us have had times where we've lost data through various things, just unexpected power fluctuations. And if you haven't backed your data up, then it can be quite an unhappy day. So certainly I would back up the data, and like I said, you know, Dr. Kathy said, you do it in multiple ways, and then have a bit of a play with your data. And if something, play with your technology. If something doesn't work, then you can go back and you can always restore. So what's next? What would you do? You've got your phone, you've started to listen, you've got your technology, you've started to listen to yourself talk, and you're willing to sort of wade into the pool of technology a little bit, and you're wanting to get your feet wet, but you're just a bit hesitant. So where to from here? Well, both Dr. Kathy and I offer one-on-one mentoring, and you can contact either one of us for more details about that. And then as Dr. Kathy said earlier on, we're also going to offer monthly online telecalls about various technology items of interest, and just to help people navigate their way through the technology pool, if you like. So we'll also have details of that on our websites as well for people who are interested. So thank you very much for listening, and have fun playing with your technology.